When Olivia asked me to join her at her office party, I didn't think twice. I'd always encouraged her career. She'd been putting in long hours, moving up quickly at her marketing firm, and I couldn't have been prouder. The event was held at a luxury hotel downtown. Floor-to-ceiling glass windows, city lights glimmering in the background, and champagne flowing like water. I walked in beside her, ready to meet her colleagues and celebrate her success. But the moment we stepped through the doors, something caught my attention. Her boss, Daniel, was staring at her with the kind of hunger that made my stomach twist. The look in his eyes wasn't professional, it was possessive. Olivia's posture stiffened the second she noticed him, and that reaction told me everything I needed to know. Things at work weren't as perfect as she'd led me to believe. Still, I played the part of the polite husband, smiling, shaking hands, pretending everything was normal. But under the surface, I was studying every expression, every tone of voice, every pair of eyes that turned toward my wife. Then Daniel approached. He carried himself like a man who believed he owned every room he walked into. Expensive suit, stronger cologne, and a smirk that screamed entitlement. "Olivia, you look incredible tonight," he said, letting his gaze wander over her body far too long. She forced a polite smile, though the discomfort was written all over her face. Then his attention shifted to me. He offered a limp handshake, his eyes already dismissing me. "And you must be her partner." The pause was deliberate. A power play. I met his hand with a firm grip and steady voice. "Her husband." He chuckled like the correction meant nothing, but I saw the flash of annoyance in his eyes. Challenge acknowledged. Good. Throughout the evening, Daniel kept finding excuses to pull Olivia aside. Urgent client talk, brief work discussions, private updates. Each time she hesitated, glanced at me apologetically, then went along reluctantly. I didn't hold it against her. I held it against him. You can always tell when someone in power crosses the line from leadership to manipulation. His hand would occasionally graze her back. His jokes became increasingly personal. At times he leaned in close enough to whisper something that made her flinch, all while pretending I wasn't standing a few feet away. Every instinct in me screamed to step in, but I waited. I don't explode without reason. I let people expose themselves first. Later, as I went to grab drinks, I overheard him talking to another coworker, his eyes still fixed on Olivia across the room. "She'll figure it out soon," he said, smirking. "She deserves better than that." He didn't even bother using my name. I was just that. I walked back calmly, handed Olivia her drink, and placed my arm around her waist. Not possessively, but to make one thing clear. She wasn't alone. She leaned into me, tension easing from her shoulders. That was enough confirmation. This wasn't harmless office banter. It was sustained harassment, wrapped in fake charm. Then came the moment that changed everything. They called everyone together for a group photo. As the photographer adjusted the frame, Daniel maneuvered himself right next to Olivia. When she tried to step slightly aside, his hand slid down her back toward her hip. Her smile faltered. She shifted again, but his hand followed. That was it. I stepped forward, inserted my hand between them, and said quietly but firmly, "Move your hand." He blinked, feigning surprise. "Excuse me." His tone dripped with arrogance. "You think you can talk to me like that?" I met his stare, unflinching. "Touch her again and find out." The room fell silent. Conversations froze mid-sentence. Daniel's smirk wavered, and though he tried to recover, his hands shot back to his sides like he'd touched fire. "Relax," he muttered. "It's just a friendly gesture." "Friendly as a handshake," I said sharply. "What you're doing is harassment." Then, loud enough for the surrounding crowd to hear, I added, "And I'm sure HR would love to review your history of friendly gestures toward married employees." Several people exchanged looks. It wasn't news, it was just something no one had dared to confront. Daniel's jaw tightened. "Watch yourself," he warned. I smiled coolly. "I don't need to. You need to watch your career." His mask cracked. The arrogance vanished, replaced by something closer to panic. What he didn't know was that I'd been ready for this. A week earlier, Olivia had broken down and told me everything. Daniel's late-night messages, inappropriate compliments, persistent invitations she couldn't refuse without risking her job. She hadn't wanted to stir trouble or draw attention. But I had collected everything: texts, emails, voicemails. Tonight wasn't impulsive. It was planned. I pulled out my phone and spoke evenly. Try anything again, and this goes to your corporate board and your wife. Yes, I knew he was married. Men like him always think their secrets stay buried. Olivia gasped quietly beside me. She hadn't known how much I'd already uncovered. Daniel's face went pale. The confidence drained from him as he saw one of his own messages glowing on my screen. People nearby tried to look away, but they'd already heard enough. I leaned closer. You don't intimidate my wife. Not here. Not ever. He swallowed hard and stepped back, retreating toward the bar, avoiding everyone's eyes. The entire mood of the room shifted. Whispers spread. Coworkers exchanged knowing glances. The truth had been spoken out loud for the first time. Olivia turned to me, her eyes glistening with shock, relief, and gratitude. For the first time in months, she seemed to breathe freely. We left early. In the car, she broke down. Not out of sadness, but from release. I didn't want you to think I couldn't handle it, she whispered. I took her hand. Standing up for you doesn't mean I think you're weak. It means we're a team. She rested her head on my shoulder, a small, peaceful smile replacing her tears. Thank you, she murmured, for seeing me, for fighting for me. I kissed her forehead. Always. That night, we didn't just end a confrontation. We reclaimed her dignity, her safety, and our peace. By Monday, Daniel didn't show up to work. HR called Olivia in. After reviewing the evidence, they suspended him pending investigation. Word spread quickly. Shareholders got involved, and his wife soon learned the truth. Not long after, he resigned quietly before the company could publicly terminate him. That night at the hotel had been the last time he ever crossed a line. He'd mistaken control for power. But true power isn't domination. It's respect. And he learned far too late that a husband who protects his wife isn't playing games. Some boundaries aren't negotiable. And some men don't bark, they end careers.